Good. It's a long day. Once again, there's an echo. Yep.
Yeah,
It's
you're
been long day.
reverberating.
No, I'm just streaming it to the YouTube. That's why. Now I was just testing it. Now it
Oh,
is
okay,
good.
okay.
So let's just give it a couple of minutes for everyone to join.
Mm-hmm.
That was the second part of the test. Even that was successful.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so we will get started now.
Okay.
Okay, so before we start, let me just give an introduction about myself and Canada IT Club. So Canada IT Club is a community where we are trying to bring in all the IT folks from Canada under one umbrella and mainly focused on information sharing and building the professional network. So this is a nonprofit, and we have multiple sessions. If anyone has missed any previous sessions, we have a YouTube channel where we have recorded it. You can just go in and watch out for the previous sessions. We had Agile Meetup. We had a coffee chat with immigration consultant. We had a front-end developers meetup. And we had much more, a chat with the recruiter, HR and all. Everything is very useful sessions. So feel free to just go to our YouTube channel and watch out for the previous sessions. And myself, Sudhir, I work as an Agile consultant in TD Bank as a contractor, of course, not a full-timer. So today's session is for kind of PM meetup. This is basically, again, as I said, information sharing and building the professional network in Canada. So today's speaker is going to be Jeffrey Thompson. He works with me, and actually I work with him, and he's the ex-president of the PMI Project Management Institute Toronto chapter, and he's a RT currently in TD Bank. He has got a vast PM experience, and he will share all the. He'll try to share all of his journey as a PM and how Canada has helped him and how he was successful in his career. It seems like Jeffrey just got dropped off, but yeah, we'll just wait until he joins. And this is more towards or more of a kind of Q&A or a chat session. So anyone wants to become a speaker, just raise the hand and you can become the speaker. Yeah, Jeffrey is back. So Jeffrey, I was just introducing you, and I think I might have missed a lot of information about you. So it would be great in case you can just give an introduction and then explain about your journey in Canada.
Sure. Hopefully you're able to hear me well.
Yes.
Perfect. I switched computers to another one
No worries.
by mistake, but experimentation works.
Yep.
All right. So I've been in Canada from 1989. I started my career actually in a brewery in Kingston, Jamaica, as I'll call it accidental project manager. So spent 10 years at the brewery. Last 2 years, I got involved in the SAP implementation. So after doing all the engineering type stuff of installing water treatment plant, like a reverse osmosis plant and refrigeration systems, etc., I appreciated the experience of being involved in SAP implementation and the transformative power of that tool, and decided, you know what, I should maybe look at coming to a country like Canada and seeing if I can do more of that, gain more of that wonderful experience. But I realized that to come to Canada, you're really only recognized or appreciated if you are certified. So I found that most of the opportunities I was looking at as I did my search had this thing called PMP or PMI certified. And it was the first time I was coming across that, but it looked like I needed to have that certification to make the transition from island like Jamaica to the Canadian experience. So that's what I did, and successfully got my PMP back in '99. And I'm glad I did, because when I got my first opportunity at Apotex Pharmaceutical, I know that that was the thing that sealed the deal for them, is the fact that I had my PMP. So throughout, that time, I was working in the waterfall way of working, as you can appreciate. I left after 5 years at Apotex, went to Maple Leaf Foods, spent 9 years there, also using the PMP and gaining my certification in Six Sigma, more as a green belt. I didn't manage to get the black belt certification before I left Maple Leaf. Then did some contract work at Canada Bread and OLG before coming to TD. And after 3 years being at TD, doing cybersecurity type projects in the IT department, I heard that they were now more interested in Agile. So I said, okay, with that Agile, are you hearing me okay?
Yeah, Jeffrey. Yes, we are good.
Okay. Yeah, the silence is deafening. So every once in a while,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like I'm just talking to myself.
Nope. Yeah, good.
All right. So then, IT was interested in Agile. So said, what, that sounds interesting to me. I've always heard about Agile, wanted to learn more about it. So since the company's or my department strategy was leaning towards Agile, I decided to go along the journey. And about 4 years ago, became a Scrum Master within IT, and then continued building on my certification in there. So got the CSM, the Discipline Senior Scrum Master certification, Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master certification, say, and then a couple of certifications with SAFE. So now I'm a release train engineer working in core platforms. So when you think of release train engineer, when if you're not familiar with it, it's more like a senior Scrum Master or chief Scrum Master, where I am working with other Scrum Masters who are working on Agile teams, delivering commitments, quarter over quarter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Good. No, go ahead, Jeffrey.
Yeah, no, I wanted to stop there to see if you had any other questions.
No, that is one one question we'll come to, because a lot of people have been asking me what is RT and how to change your career to RT, becoming RT. But yeah, we will come to that. But before that, I wanted to appreciate the journey you had. It's a tremendous journey. Over a period of time, you have been successful in Canada. And for those who joined late, I just wanted to say that this is going to be a chat session. So if you want to become a speaker, you want to share your experience, or you want to ask questions to Jeffrey, please feel free to raise your hand and become the speaker. But I'll start a questions. So Jeffrey, in Canada, how important or how relevant is a certification, especially for a project manager or a agile role?
I find the certifications is to my experience very relevant, especially for someone that didn't grow up in Canada. So the way I look at it, if you're like you're born in Canada or you went through the school system in Canada, you're more likely be known, right? You build your network as you go through and spend your time here, especially if you go, like I said, go through the school system. You naturally build up your network, so people know who you are, and you can easily gain references to make your career gives your career a lift and make you easy to get opportunities. If you're like me, who came over having gotten 10 years of experience outside of Canada, how do you prove objectively that you have the skills and capabilities to do the job? And that's where I think certifications can help to at least open the doors and help you to get to that conversation. Because if you go for an opportunity that requires a particular certification, especially in the job description, and you do not have that, it could be a deal breaker for some opportunities.
No, absolutely. That is very true. And another thing I just wanted to add a point is that during these certification courses or when you join these kinds of institutes like PMI institutes and all, you are going to meet or you're meeting like hundreds of other folks who are in the same domain. That is one of the good opportunity for us to build our network. So going to these meetups or going to all these sessions, going to join these kinds of training. So for example, the Scrum Master training or the Agile Safe Agilist training, which I had, I met another 15 folks who are in the same domain. And actually that was just a networking opportunity. And from that day onwards, we have been trying to get in touch with 15 folks. We have been maintaining that relationship, and that actually helps in Canada. Right, Jeffrey. So having a very good network in Canada is very imperative when you are trying to build your career. So what do you think about
that's
that?
so true. That's so true.
Yeah, we have been seeing, right, the networking is one of the most important things to build your career. So Jeffrey, do you want to speak about like how to build a network or how you were successful in building the network and how PMI helped you in getting like network with a lot of other folks in Canada?
Yeah, and it's a good point that you mentioned because, for me, I realized that because I was coming to Canada new, over 20 years ago, I didn't know people here. So the way I approach networking is, how do you create that win-win? I think a number of people are familiar with Dr. Stephen Covey work with, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You're always going for win-win. So, or Zig Ziglar will say that you can get what you want if you help others to get what they want.
Yep.
So in my mind, it's finding people that have common values to you, and you know that you want to contribute your knowledge just as you want to benefit from their knowledge. I think working or volunteering to organization like with PMI, where you're working on common goals and delivering events, sharing knowledge, are good ways to network, because at least, like I said, you're building your knowledge. So not only are you networking with folks, you're helping them to solve some of their challenges as they help you to solve some of your challenges. So that sort of collaboration, I highly recommend in terms of an.
Absolutely. Am I audible, Jeffrey?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. And I just wanted to add, see, Jeffrey might have gone through like difficult times because at that time these LinkedIn or these social networking sites were not active. But right now you have a very good social media to build your network rather than just buzzing a stranger in LinkedIn and just messaging him for a referral or just for a job search. Try to build the network, and this actually helps during the long run. Right now there are numerous ways to build the network. We have the meetup sessions, we have these LinkedIns, we have online meetups, we have these organizations where they work, as Jeffrey said, everyone works for the common goal, and you will meet a lot of experts in the area, and those are the ways by which you can start building your network in Canada. And once you start building it, actually you can grow it. You have to just use few strategies to grow your network in Canada. And we have Ravi here. Ravi.
Yeah, hello all. Jeffrey, I wanted to hear more about how PM role changes in Agile, the topic which
Absolutely.
is agenda of discussion today.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'll give you my perspective on it, because when I did my PMP exam back in '99, Agile may have been around, and a lot of people say that even though some people would believe Agile began with the Agile Manifesto, but then there are some people that will say no, it started before the Agile Manifesto. What Agile Manifesto did was package it so people could understand and have certain tenets that they can use to leverage and to go forward in terms of how they approach Agile. So when I did the PMP exam, Agile was not mentioned. But if anyone doing the PMP exam today and not understanding or learning about Agile, you're basically not being able to answer maybe, let's say, 50% of the questions that are likely to come in terms of that certification. And I think a lot of companies, including mine now, have come to appreciate the power of Agile, being that customer focused way of delivering and ensuring that we can get rid of customer irritants and deliver value to customers a lot faster than we used to do just using the waterfall method. Hopefully that answers your question, Ravi. But if you have a follow-up,
Yeah.
I'm happy to
Maybe I'll add to it. Let us make it into a discussion. So another thing I just wanted to add is see the one thing from the PM perspective, right? Previously, the project manager role, I'm talking specifically about the project manager role, was to keep a track of these dependencies, keep a track of the financials, resources, and etc. etc. But right now, even in Agile, as most of you know, these companies here in Canada, most of the bigger companies are striving towards the Agile, and everyone is pushing Agile left and right. And how the PM role has changed is that the Scrum Master has kind of taken over, or the project managers have moved into a kind of Scrum Master role, where they are working with the team, removing the impediments and helping the team to become successful in delivering the value, rather than just raising an impediment and raising a dependency and risk and waiting for the teams to fix it. The Scrum Masters right now is trying to resolve these issues and boosting the team's morale and helping the team to get into the fast moving environment, and they are trying to help the team rather than keeping track of the plan, and they are trying to help the team in delivering faster. So Jeffrey, anything you want to add on that?
Oh yeah, happy to add.
Yep, sure.
Yeah, because what I would say, having been a Scrum Master as well as project manager and in the same environment, when I started off as a project manager, there was so much more focus on making sure you got the artifacts. So depending on the risk profile of the project you're doing, you could have, over, so let's say 30 or so artifacts that you need to focus on. And the more focus was on the artifacts and delivering the artifacts than what you have suggested in terms of the focusing on the team and making sure that the team are working collaboratively and you have daily stand-ups, which is not something we would have done. We would have done more as a PM. You're focused more on status meeting. What is the status, as opposed to having a conversation around what have been achieved, what impediments are there, and what's planned to be achieved, so that there is more focus on the flow of work and ensuring that everyone is kept engaged at a high level of output and high level of being able to produce value to the customer.
Absolutely. And another thing I want to add is that the project financials. Okay, so earlier PM used to keep a track of tight project financials. Even the project financial and forecasting models are getting changed. So there have been a lot of discussions, a lot of research, and a lot of proposal at these big 5 banks plus other companies on how to change the project financials to match with the Agile model. So that is something evolving. I'm not sure whether all companies are adopting it or some companies are matured at it. But there have been a lot of discussions on changing the project financial landscape from this traditional waterfall model to map it to the features they deliver from the Agile projects, like quarterly, after this quarter, how much money we spent on and what all features are delivered. So basically the money is getting compared to the number of features, or the value of the features is getting added. So the project manager who previously used to track the financials is right now change to understand that, okay, what is the value we have delivered, how many releases we were able to made, and what is the cost of these releases. So so that is getting changed. Again, I don't have much insight towards it, but Jeffrey, if you want to add, you can just add it.
Yeah, sure. And again, I like how you put it. I mean, before there was a lot more focus on, here, what is the variance to the costs and, tracking costs, because again, it's another artifact that you need to do in terms of your status report is putting the financials. I think companies are more looking to approach it from a spend envelope point of view, to say, here's a bucket of money that you have to work with, and you're working with the team in as creative a way as possible to ensure that you deliver value that you have committed to. And again, you're basically delivering around, the Agile manifesto, where you're looking at, here's MVP that most valuable product that
Minimum viable product. Yep.
Yeah, so that you are saying to the customer, what, based on the spend envelope you've given us and based on what you've requested, here's something that we can give you immediately that you can start using and
Yep.
putting the value. Because again, the quicker the customer can get the delivery, is also the quicker the customer can, especially if they're using it to generate revenue on their own, they can start building revenue that they can then put back in somewhat of a feedback loop to build on the minimum viable product that has been delivered to them.
Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey. Ekansh is here. Ekansh, you want to add something or any questions? Ekansh, you there?
No,
Yeah.
I'm good, Sudhir. Yeah.
Okay. So Jeffrey, I just want to ask another thing. Like, see, when the entire industry is moving from this traditional waterfall to the agile, how is the PMI coping up with that? So what are the changes which is happening in the PMP or PMI ACP courses to include agile, and how is it benefiting the people who's going for that certification?
And again, like I said, I have the Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master certification. So as many of you may have heard, PMI a few years ago bought Discipline Agile, which was developed at IBM. And they still have Discipline Agile as a certification that they're building on. As I mentioned, the PMP exam now has a significant, about 50% of the questions are based on Agile. So they know that to be successful, they not only need to look at the traditional method of project management, but also the Agile way of working.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeffrey. So I just want to add a few things here. So from right now, I'm going to wear the job seekers cap. So if anyone is searching for the job, yes, certification brings in much value adds when you are trying to apply for a job, especially in Canada. So those who missed in the beginning, Jeffrey had clearly mentioned that when you don't have a network, or when there are two candidates, one with a certification and one without a certification, definitely the chances is like 95% of the chances is that the person with the certification might get the job if there is a requirement of the certification. So certifications are much valuable. And for those who are interested in what are the certifications provided by different institutions like Scrum Alliance or PMI, I have written a post of that. But in case if you want to details, you just ping me and I'll share that post in LinkedIn maybe tomorrow. It will give you a detailed level of what all what all agile certifications you can take to improve or boost your career in at least in Canada, because this is very important, because certifications actually are really good, but the question is whether the certifications will get me the job. Certifications alone will not get you the job, but it is actually a boosting factor when you are applying for a job. This is purely, I'm speaking from the job seekers perspective, because I know that a lot of people who attend these sessions, they are striving to improve their career and searching for the jobs. So that is the reason why I wanted to add this. Before I proceed further, Rinosh, do you want to add something? Oh, Rinosh left. He'll join back. Yeah, and just wanted to add one more thing is that, or maybe we can ask that as a question for Jeffrey. So, Jeffrey, what is the career path of a PCO right now? Maybe 3 to 4 years of experience person right now who is a kind of PCO. What are the options for him? Can he move into as a PM, or should he try for a SM, or how can he get into as a RTE? So this is one of the most popular question which I receive from all the junior level folks, that what are my options as a PCO? How will I proceed my career further?
Yeah, I know with PCOs starting off, you may not have a lot of experience. You definitely working on your certification does help, because again, it helps to demonstrate to people that you have the level of thinking that they may want to tap into as you look to move up in your career. So definitely, I know Sudaria mentioned the importance of networking, building up that knowledge base, as well as getting to people to know you and what you're capable of. Because again, people are looking for persons that they trust to be able to deliver for their clients, for their customers. So you need to position yourself as someone that has a knowledge, has a personality, and is able to deliver when called upon to do so. So I would say that is the combination that you might want to strive for. Building your certification, building your network, getting to appreciate the needs of people and what they're looking for, so that you can be the person to deliver for them.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeffrey. Rinosh is here. Rinosh.
Yeah, thanks, Sudhir. I'm Rinosh. I'm also a project manager within the TD for almost 5 years. Sudhir, you talks about the certifications. So people new coming to the Agile world, which is the right certification that we need to take? Or is there anything like that? Should we go for PMP? Should we go for a CSM? Or should we go for SAFE? What is the best approach? Or anything is fine?
Maybe I'll take it up, Jeffrey. So see,
sure, go for it.
Yeah. So see, if I was just getting started, right, I would start with this is just for a person who has no certification. So if I was about to start, I would start with a basic CSM or a PSM certification. That's the basics of Agile. Okay, and whether this certification will teach you Agile, maybe, may not be, but we have to start reading books. But I would start with CSM, then I would go for PMI ACP. Okay, PMI ACP is a second certification I would take. Then I would go for Safe Agilist, because what is happening right now is the Agile, we rolled out Agile in TD, I think, few years back. Okay, so most of the companies are getting matured in Agile, and right now everyone is pushing Safe. And a lot of the teams which we know are actually getting matured in Safe, and they are really looking for people with Safe certifications, not only for the Scrum Masters or Agile coaches, but they are looking for RTEs. They are looking for even the developers or the engineers who with the Safe certification, because when you work as a team, you need to understand how the things works. Okay, how these things works. So right now, most of the companies are giving or pushing for certifications for Safe. So just to repeat what I said, I would start with the CSM, then I would go for a kind of PMI ACP. And if you have a very good communication skill and you want to move into kind of Agile coach role, then there is a ICP ACC, Agile coach certification. We would take it. And if you want to move into pure project management, like project financials, project tracking the projects and everything, then instead of maybe Agile coach or Safe, I would take the PMP. Jeffrey, you feel free to add. In
Oh
case
no,
missed
I
anything.
think you have done well at that. And again, it all depends on where you see your career and what resonates with you. I agree with what you said with if anyone wants to have a starting point in Agile, the CSM. I mean, that's what I started with. Part of the reason why I also did the discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master certification was based on my experience with PMI and what I wanted to tap into in terms of the discipline Agile and learning how to use that. And then I also went into the SAFE certification because my organization was more supportive of that certification. So a combination of where you want to see your career and the organizations you want to work with, I think will dictate how you want to move on the path you want to take.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Sudhir and Jeffrey. I have a slightly different question. Again, this has been covered a little bit earlier. It's all about the project financials. And you know that in the old world where the PMs, a good amount of time has been spent on the project financials every month. We talks about the project variance, the monthly forecast, the weekly forecast, and a lot of discussions times has been spent on it. But in the new world, especially in TD, people start talking about new. People start talking about the safe and agile, and then they are also talking about there will not be any forecast, there will not be any variances, and the PM itself may not be there. So, what is your thoughts on that one? This forecasting and the variance and all those discussions that will all completely gone, and the people will be working on ports. How does it work?
Yeah, I'll just give the start and then Jeffrey can follow. So
Sure,
see, Rinosh, those roles are going to be still be there because project financials, as 90% of the people like developers, testers, or anyone who doesn't know about how the project financials works. This works with very limited number of people, like PMs and the project financial guys, PCOs. They keep track of this one. So until and unless there is a kind of foolproof system which is developed and tested and everything, this roles are going to be there and there is going to be evolution. We are not saying that okay, the next year this is going to be perfect because new things are coming in and we are still changing the model. So this model, the financial model, is getting revamped every year. So I have been seeing that for the past 5 years. So it is getting revamped every year, and the same thing we are improving a lot. It's not like 5 years, 2017 or 18, how we manage project finance. It's not exactly the same like what we are doing now. We have improved a lot. We have come a long way, and that's exactly is going to happen for the next 5 years. We are going to improve the model to to an extent, so that we are going to save a lot of money, or we are going to utilize those money to do something useful. So yes, it's not like people are going to lose a job or anything, but yes, this model is getting evolved. Even the project delivery, project financials, reporting, tracking, everything is getting evolved, and there is no limit. So there is no limit to it, and we can see for the next 3 to 5 years, we will see how these things models are getting a new phase and these getting matured. Jeffrey, you want to add?
Yeah, and you're right
I add
because
something.
sure, go ahead.
Okay, so just to answer your question, Anons, this is not going to end. There is certainly a tweak into doing things based on the project type. So you would have a managed services, you would have unmanaged services, you would have a fixed price project, you would have a recurring fixed price project, time and material project. So based on the project types you are handling, you will certainly have a different approach to forecasting and costing and raising the invoices to the customer. So it all depends upon the kind of project you are handling. There would not be going to a lot of difference, but yes, what Sudhir said, we are moving into agility world. So we have to be agile into our approaches, and we have to adhere to the changes. We have to respond to the changes as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Jeffrey, you want to add something to it?
Yeah, I would say that, Ravi is right. It depends on the type of project you're leading. Construction projects are always going to be there, and they'll always have their cost accountants, and they're going to be, doing the status report and looking at the cash flow and making sure that there's enough money to keep the construction going. And then you're going to have, on the other hand, agile projects that are going to be more focused on delivering value, and they would have a cost envelope and say, here's a bunch of money that you have. You have this time frame, you deliver in this time frame, and then we will reevaluate, reassess if we need to do the next MVP and work through there. So I think it all depends on what's being delivered, and it would also dictate the type of project method used to deliver.
Sure. Thanks, Jeffrey. Here we have Sai. He's also a very experienced project manager. Hey, Sai, long time.
Hey, Sudhir. Yeah, long time. Yeah. So first of all, thanks, Sudhir, for setting this up. I think it's a fantastic idea. So yeah, thanks for setting this up.
Yeah, no worries, Sai. So you want to add something on this project financials and how it is getting involved?
Maybe I'll just add a couple of things, but yeah, I do have a question for Jeffrey. But yeah, just quickly, as you rightly pointed out, a couple of things. I have extensive PM experience in terms of financial status reporting, steering committee meetings, etc. So you're right. I think the financials and everything else that we used to do as PM is changing, and a lot of it is evolving as new things are coming up. One thing what I've noticed is that so some of the PMs have kind of especially coming with waterfall experience, they've kind of oriented themselves or pivoted themselves to focus more on financials and things like that right now, rather than taking up CSM certification. So to your point, I think that role will continue to exist, but it will obviously evolve with technology and new things.
Yep.
So
yeah, thanks, Sai. Yeah. What's your question? Do you have any question to Jeffrey?
Yeah, I do. So again, thanks, Jeffrey, for your time here. So I do have a quick question. Like I know you had mentioned about release train engineer in terms of your current role. So just for my benefit, can you just explain what is your, how does your day look like in terms of your responsibilities as a release train engineer? Is it in some ways similar to a PM, or I just want to understand how your day looks like?
Okay.
Yeah, Jeffrey, before you answer, Sai was working with me in TD Security. So he's an ex-TD. So
okay.
I'm actually still at TD in a different role.
Oh, yeah. You came back to TD. Great.
Yeah, I came back. Yeah.
Man, we should connect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look forward to meeting you in person then.
Yeah, same here. Maybe we'll have a lunch meetup. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds good. So day in life, release train engineer. I think it let's say it all depends on the quarter, because in terms of safe is focused on quarterly commitments and delivering commitments to a quarter. So if you look at the fiscal year, 4 quarters. So I would say for tomorrow, as an example, we have our day one of our program increment planning, where we're looking at working with all the pods that we work with, and looking at all the epics that they would want to be focused on based on the features that would have been laid out. And just to help those people understand, some of these JIRA objects that I'm mentioning, the feature looks at a year. Here's something that needs to be delivered over a period of a year. And then as we look to break them down into quarters, we're looking at epics that's going to span quarters. And then within our program increment planning, which usually goes across 2 days, the team is looking at how do we break these epics into stories. And we're then looking at 6 sprints across a quarter. So how do we take on breaking down the epics into sprints, where we'll have stories across 6 sprints for the quarter. And then after we get through the program increment planning, we're going to do a readout to our senior executives and share with them what we have agreed to commit to as a group, because it'll be a group of agile teams that I'll be representing in terms of that readout. And then after we get that acceptance, we'll start the sprinting. So we'll sprint, and as the team is sprinting, we're ensuring that we are familiar with what are the risks that they see. And yeah, that's the other thing that we would do in the PI planning. Not only would we look at the planning that each agile team is doing, but look at what are the dependencies that they require to support them in terms of doing their work. What are the impediments that they think they'll have to overcome? Do they have the capacity needed to deliver on the commitments? And what are the risks that they see that could become impediments? And then for each sprint, as they do their daily stand-ups, we're going through and looking at are they able to continue doing the work? Can they deliver what they have in terms of a sprint goal? Because your commitment that you have for the quarter is now broken down into sprint goals and making sure that you can hit your target. So I'll stop there and see if you had any follow-up questions, Sai.
Yeah, that helps. Thanks, Jeffrey. So one quick question. So in terms of, once the PI planning is completed, and then at that point of time, does the Scrum Master take over the day-to-day sprinting of the individual sprints? So what?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Correct.
So the
And then
Scrum Master is still working so you're as a release train engineer, you continue to work closely with the Scrum Master and rest of the sprint team.
Right. And I'll probably go and visit some of their daily stand-ups on some of their ceremonies, because they're doing over a period of 2-week sprints. They're doing the daily stand-ups, and then at the end of the time, and on a weekly basis, we'll have ceremonies like release Scrum of Scrums, where we're pulling the POs and the Scrum Masters together and saying how you're tracking to your sprint goals. So we do that on a weekly basis, sort of at the start of the sprint and, sort of towards the end of the sprint, how are they tracking sprint over sprint. And then I also have to go and, speak to the what they call the solution train engineers, who are also responsible for, where we as RTEs are, sharing our experience to a higher level because in some of the deliveries that we need to do, we may need to collaborate with other groups. So I may need to reach out to a release train engineer that has, maybe another 10 pods working with, especially if we have this cross-group dependency, let's call it. So this is how we're making people aware that there may be certain things that we may need to take up to high level, especially if it's going to impact not only my group or program, what we call product group of agile teams, but it may affect multiple product groups that are looking to deliver on the features that we need to deliver value to our customers.
Okay, good. Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeffrey. And one last question. I don't want to hijack this meeting, but just quickly. How do you see this panning out at TD specifically, if I can ask, or maybe...
No, that is something which we may have to take offline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as discussed, we can plan for a meetup whenever we come to office.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'll schedule one.
So there, I
Yeah,
have
Ranosh.
one question related to what Jeffrey has mentioned just now.
Yep.
We talked about the PI planning. For the next quarter, we will come up with the commitments. So during this 6 sprints for that next quarter, okay, we will try to achieve those commitments. So if there is a change in scope, or if there is, by some reason, if that commitment is not able to achieve within that 6 sprints, what is the process? Is there again PCRs, or is it something that the product owner will work with you? How does it work?
I think it all depends on some of the direction that we may need to achieve, because again, we're working in an agile environment, and there are sometimes we may have to pause some work because something of a higher urgency comes up. So that is something that we would definitely coordinate with our what we call solution trained engineers and our executives, because if we're making a change because of the importance to the company and to our customers, then some of the work may have to be put on hold, and we have to reprioritize the work. So hopefully,
maybe I can also answer. I can add to what Jeffrey said. Yes, Renosh. So anything comes in, RTs and the PO or EPO, whoever that is, will work with the RTs and SLTs to make those changes and make the changes for the upcoming sprint. So for example, if the changes or the business priorities are getting changed after the third sprint, yes, there will be a kind of revisit into the changes or the priorities, and we do the replanning.
Okay.
Ravi wants to add something. After that, we'll come to Antara.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Antara. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Sudhir, for making this happen. I have a question, very generic question, but
sure.
I think people have it. There is a PMP and there is a program management also nowadays, which is like a higher version of project management. Mm-hmm. So some people are, looking for, because I'm into product management, so I also see the roles which are program manager in IT and in both in non-IT sectors, be it social development sector or any other non-IT field also, they have program managers. How does this PGMP will help to grow in that sort of career? Plus, another second part of this question is that, I see a lot of times in the job descriptions that they mention PMP most of the time, but not PGMP as a certification. Maybe PMP is more popular, even if I see, jobs in Canada. So what is your thought about it? And does it help to have a PGMP in non-IT sector as well?
Yeah, I think it depends on the... Yeah, sorry. So I think it depends on the company. You're correct. PMP is more known and hence more popular. PGMP is not as well known. However, I think it depends on the scope of what the individual is to deliver for the company. So, when you think of a program manager is managing a fairly large size project, maybe something like, putting up a bridge or significant infrastructure project, or maybe delivering something like a data center in terms of the IT world. So, when you think of those high magnitude projects, they're being delivered over not only 1 year, but multi-year. So you do need someone who has that demonstrated skill and understanding of delivering on those mega projects. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, but I want to understand how it opens up the doors in terms of if you have that certification, because both certifications are from PMI, but the cost of the certification varies and requirements also vary. So I'm saying from non-IT and IT sector, how does PGMP will help you as an individual or in your career?
I think it depends on the requirements of the company. So for me, when I was looking at doing the PMP as an example, the jobs I was looking at all either mentioned PMP or PMI certified, and that's what the jobs called for. And because I knew going for some of those jobs that I wanted to get into required those certifications. So that's why I aligned myself and got those certifications. If you're looking for the PGMP, I think that you're looking to get into a program manager role in terms of a large size, like I said, mega project. And if that's what they're looking for in terms of doing that body of work, then that would be the certification that may be more suited to you, because then when you start, before you even have the conversation with them, when you're going through the HR interview, they're going to be looking at, you know, what are the job specs and what do you have on your resume to match that job spec. And if they are looking for the PGMP, then that would be something that you'd want to have as you apply for those roles.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Did I see someone's hand up at the bottom there?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
I see 3 hands up.
Sahilesh,
Sure.
I'm not able to actually promote you. I'm not sure. Can you just retry it once more? Unfortunately, I'm not able to promote Sahilesh as a speaker. Yeah, so right now we have Suresh. Hey, Suresh. Suresh, you there?
Suresh is still on mute.
Okay. Okay, so I think I have promoted Sailesh. Sailesh, something is wrong. You're not becoming the speaker, unfortunately. So I think it's time. It's almost time. 10 o'clock. Everyone, it's too late for most of us. So we will try to wind up now. And for Priya, Shoji, and Suresh, in case you guys have anything, you can reach out to me or Jeffrey personally. And also Sai and Renosh is also very senior project managers. And Ravi is also Scrum Master and a trainer. So you can reach out to these folks. And also...
I'm not a trainer, basically. I am working as a project manager in HCL. So,
okay.
Yeah.
No, your
I will edit
tagline
that
says
by-
trainer.
Yeah, I
So
will
that's
edit it. I will.
Okay, man. No worries. Yeah. So anyways, it's good. It's good to have it. Anyways, one more thing is, in case you guys are like project manager professionals and all, feel free to connect with other project managers, just like Sai, Rinosh, and all, and whoever is also available in this chat. So try to connect with other project managers and start building the network. So as Jeffrey said, it has to be a win-win situation. That is where most of the people are interested. If it is just I win, you lose, nobody will be interested. So unfortunately, do not send cold messages. Better to start building the network. That network is very, very important in Canada. Professional network is really important when you are trying to build your career in Canada. So once again, thanks, Jeffrey. I would like to thank Jeffrey for accepting my invite to join the session. Thanks a lot. And also Renosh,
You're
Sai,
welcome.
yeah, Ravi, and everyone else who has contributed to this session and who asked these questions. Okay, so Jeffrey, any closing comments?
Well, I appreciated being here, and hopefully our discussion was helpful to everyone who joined. And if they're not, and they do have questions, as Sudhir mentioned, feel free to reach out to us. We believe in promoting collaboration and promoting win-win, and helping others also helps ourselves. So
Absolutely,
collaborating and moving forward together.
Yep. Thank you. Sai, you want to add something?
No, a great session. Eye opener for me in many ways. So thank you, Sudhir, for setting it up, and thanks.
No worries.
Thanks, Jeffrey, as well, for sharing your journey.
You're welcome.
Your experience. So yeah, thanks for that.
Maybe we'll try to catch up one day in downtown.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So have a good night. And
Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, thanks all. Thank you. Thank you very much.